Yes, it does seem as though there's one every day. I find it all too boring, replied the other. But this time it is his birthday, so it should be good fun, said the first girl. You know the prince is a fabulous party giver, and who knows what super surprises he may have prepared for his guests. By late afternoon, the party was in full swing. Before she left, the Queen Mother motioned one of her ladies-in-waiting to step forward. Prince Siegfried saw she was carrying a velvet cushion, upon which lay the most magnificent golden crossbow he had ever seen. The Queen picked it up and gave it to her son. "I may not approve of your party," she said with a knowing smile, "but I am proud of your hunting skills, and this ought to cheer you up. It is your birthday present. Take it with my love." The prince smiled and bowed to his lady mother, thanking her for the magnificent gift. It was a beauty. Oh well, he would have to make do with hunting if the parties were out. He watched as the Queen Mother left, walking majestically between the lines of curtsying and bowing courtiers. "Get everyone together quickly, Benno," he ordered. "We'll celebrate my birthday with a swan hunt by night." Soon the hunting party assembled and moved off into the forest. light on the lake made him look up, and he saw a most wonderful sight.
I'm watching from here.
A procession of graceful white swans glided softly and silently over the still waters of the lake. They stepped out onto the shore close to where the prince was standing. As each swan emerged from the water, it was transformed into a beautiful girl, dressed in feathery garments of dazzling white. The loveliest one of all wore a crown on her head, and Prince Siegfried felt his heart beating furiously as he gazed at her. He stepped forward, and with a cry of fear, she turned to run away. Prince Siegfried quickly put his crossbow behind his back and said, "Please don't be frightened. I will not harm you. Please do tell me, who are you?" Something in his calm, deep voice reassured the Swan Queen, and she signaled to her maidens to wait.
The boy right there, Gavin goes The boy that's dancing with Sadie, Gavin.
Then the Swan Queen asked Siegfried to promise her that no huntsman would shoot at her or at her companions. The prince agreed immediately. "You can rely on me," he said. "I am Prince Siegfried, and I shall see that no one harms you." And all the swans danced for joy. As the prince stared at the lovely face of the Swan Queen, he knew he had never seen anyone so charming and beautiful. He had already fallen deeply in love with her. The Swan Queen spoke. "You must know that my name is Odette, and I am Queen of the Swans. Once I was a happy child, living with my parents. But one dreadful day, I was kidnapped by a monstrous wizard. His name is Von Rothbart, and he lives in that tower by the rock at the edge of the lake. He put a spell upon me, and so all day I must be a swan and live on the water. It is only at midnight that I become a girl again, as you see me now. But as dawn breaks, I will be forced to turn into a swan again. All these girls, who are my closest friends, have also been the victims of this evil magician.
Where's Grandma?
His terrible spell can only be broken if I fall in love with a noble and brave young man who has never loved anyone before me. What is more, he must swear to love me and only me forever. And, if necessary, be prepared to die for me. Now that they were safe from harm, the Swan Maidens began to dance joyously on the banks of the lake. And 4 little cygnets, still a little wobbly on their feet, delighted Prince Siegfried as he watched them dance. Prince Siegfried returned to the palace. Now he couldn't wait for the ball. He would choose Odette to be his bride. His mother would be delighted, and they would all live happily ever after. Or would they? Rothbart the wizard slunk back to his tower in a rage. Slumped in a chair, his ugly daughter, Odile, looked up. "Oh my," she said scornfully, "we do look upset. What on earth has got into you, father? I never saw you look so bad-tempered." "You'd be in a rotten temper too if you saw your plans go to ruin." "Ruin? What ruin? Tell me what's happened," screeched Odile. Von Rothbart folded his wings, and in a rage he told her about the meeting of Prince Siegfried and Odette, and how his spell would undoubtedly be broken forever when the prince declared his love for her at the state ball the next night. "What's so terrible?" sneered Odile scornfully. "Surely a brilliant magician like you can solve a little problem like that." "Little problem?" yelled her father furiously. His feathers were ruffled, and his piercing eyes were blazing with anger. "I suppose you have the answer." "As a matter of fact, I do," retorted his ugly daughter. "Turn me into Odette for the evening. She will be a swan until midnight anyway, and if you make me like her, pretty and graceful, he will think that I am his precious Odette, declare his love for me, and your beastly spell will be safe forever." "Good thinking," von Rothbart replied. "Spoken like a true Rothbart. Mind you, it will take all my magical powers to make you look beautiful, but I do believe it can be done." And he went to work on the spell immediately. The dazzling lights in the royal castle blazed out into the darkness as the guests assembled for Prince Siegfried's coming-of-age party. Everyone rose to greet the Queen Mother. Followed by her ladies-in-waiting, she moved across the ballroom towards her throne, acknowledging the bows and curtsies of her guests with a gracious nod. At her signal to the Master of Ceremonies, the 6 princesses took their places on the polished floor and began to dance. The Queen Mother nodded to Prince Siegfried. He bowed to her, stepped onto the floor, and began to dance with each princess in turn. He smiled politely to each one, but his gaze kept turning to the door, as though he was waiting for someone to arrive. His mother watched intently, anxious to see which of these lovely girls would capture his heart. But her handsome son gave no sign of interest in any of the enchanting princesses, each of whom was eager to be his bride. His smiling lips gave each one hope, but there was no smile in his eyes. He showed little interest, for there was no room in his heart for anyone except his enchanting Odette. All eyes turned to the door to see a mysterious nobleman enter, leading the most beautiful young girl by the hand. It was the evil evil von Rothbart in disguise. "I am the Knight of the Black Swan, and this is my daughter," he announced. Prince Siegfried's heart was racing wildly. It was she, his lovely Odette. True, she was dressed in shimmering black, but her face, he could never mistake such loveliness. It was Odette, all right. His spirits rose as he bowed to her and kissed her hand. The wizard had indeed achieved a tremendous feat of magic. It had taken him one whole day of back-breaking labor and had strained his powers to the breaking point. But here was his ugly daughter, transformed into the exquisite Odette. Prince Siegfried eagerly stretched out his hand and led the deceitful Odile to the floor. I have chosen her to be my wife. As soon as he had spoken, there was a terrible crash of thunder and a howl of laughter as Wizard von Rothbart seized his daughter from the prince. The wizard and Odile shrieked and cackled with glee as they vanished from the ballroom. Their plan had succeeded. Now the spell would last forever. The Queen Mother tried to comfort her grief-stricken son, but he pushed her away. "I must find her. I must explain that it was not my fault. I was tricked," he cried, as he rushed outside and headed for the enchanted lake. Arriving at the clearing, he found all the Swan Maidens in tears in a protective circle around their queen. As he walked sadly towards them, they stepped aside, and he found his heartbroken Odette weeping bitterly. As he knelt at her feet, the prince begged her to forgive him and explained how the evil von Rothbart had tricked him into mistaking Odile for his beloved. "Please understand, Odette. I thought it was you. I truly did." Odette forgave him willingly, but they both knew nothing could change the fact that his vow was broken. now, Odette explained. There is no reason to live anymore. Now before dawn, I shall die. And breaking away from him, she turned and ran to the lake, leaping into the waves. The waters closed over her. If you die, then so must I, cried Prince Siegfried, as he ran headlong after her and threw himself into the depths of the lake. As the icy waters of the lake closed over the lovelorn couple, an anguished howl echoed round the shore, and the wizard von Rothbart was seen stumbling blindly about, his wings thrashing in agony. All his evil powers were destroyed by the love of Prince Siegfried, who had proved himself willing to die for his beautiful Odette. The spell was broken. The water became calm. Now, out of the depths of the lake, there arose a vision, a beautiful chariot drawn by a magnificent swan, carrying Prince Siegfried and Queen Odette up to another land where happiness would be theirs forever.